chosen, when all I've ever done is right? What kind of father finds the broken and calls them daughters and sons? What kind of king would call me beloved before I even had a name? Hey, what kind of king would take all my pain off? He saved me, he changed me, he raised me up from the dust. Dance in the light of my broken chains. That is who my father, that is who my father is. Sold my heart and he took my shame. That is who my father, that is who my father is. I never thought I'd find a love like this. I never thought I'd find a love like this. No, dance in the light of my broken chains. That is who my father, that is who my father is. What other king would we call holy? What other king would beat the grave? And at the mention of his king's name, every single thing will change. No other king would make me righteous. No other king would make me new. No other king would dance in my breakthrough and take you till the devil is afraid of you. Dance in the light of my broken chains. That is who my father, that is who my father is. Sold my heart and he took my shame. That is who my father, that is who my father is. I never thought I'd find a love like this. I never thought I'd find a love like this. No, dance in the light of my broken chains. That is who my father, that is who my father is. That is who my father, that is who my father is. Dance in the light of my broken chains. That is who my father, that is who my father is. Sold my heart and he took my shame. That is who my father, that is who my father is. I never thought I'd find a love like this. I never thought I'd find a love like this. No, dance in the light of my broken chains. That is who my father, that is who my father is.
King Belshazzar was the evil king of Babylon and loved to throw crazy parties for all of the people in his kingdom. At one party, he ordered his servants to bring in special gold cups. Now, these weren't any ordinary gold cups. These belonged to God's temple in Jerusalem. He wasn't supposed to use them, but he didn't care and chose to do the wrong thing. As he was sipping from his fancy gold cup, a giant hand suddenly appeared and started writing on the wall. King Belshazzar couldn't believe his eyes. Everyone at the party saw the writing and grew very, very quiet, and King Belshazzar grew very afraid. The king needed to figure out what these words meant. He called for advisors to come to him and read the writing on the wall. To sweeten the deal, he said that the person who could read this mysterious message would be rewarded with all kinds of riches. They would receive purple clothes, fancy gold chains, and power over the kingdom. But of all the people who came, there wasn't one who could tell him what it said. The queen, however, knew of someone who could read it. She told King Belshazzar all about a guy named Daniel who could interpret dreams, explain riddles, and solve difficult problems. Daniel came and, of course, understood the words right away. He knew the message was not going to please the king, but he wanted to do the right thing. He told the king, "This is what it means. God has tested you and you did not pass. Your time as king is over and your kingdom will be divided." This was bad news for King Belshazzar, but he kept his promise to Daniel. He put a gold chain around his neck, a purple robe on his back, and made him the third most powerful man in all of Babylon. That very night, King Belshazzar died. It must have been hard to stand up to a king and tell him bad news, but Daniel did the right thing and God blessed him. When we choose to do what is right, no matter how tough it might be, God will bless us too.
A long time ago, there lived a man named Daniel. He was a good man and loved God with all of his heart. Daniel lived a normal, peaceful life in the land of Israel, until one day, Israel was attacked by an invading army. The invaders captured Daniel and many other people, and they were taken to a faraway place called Babylon. Babylon was very different from Israel. Most people there didn't follow God like he did, but Daniel continued to trust God. He knew that God was always with him. Because Daniel was faithful, God blessed whatever he put his hand to, and people started to notice that there was something special about Daniel. Eventually, even the king of Babylon saw that Daniel was well-liked and that he was a hard worker. He took a liking to Daniel, and he even gave him a job in the palace.
"Daniel, my boy, how would you like to work in the king's service?"
Daniel continued to be obedient to God, and God continued to bless him. Pretty soon, the king wanted to make Daniel his right-hand man. He would be the second most powerful man in the entire country. But not everyone liked Daniel. In fact, some people hated him. A few of the nobles in the palace were very jealous of Daniel's success, and they started plotting to get rid of him.
Who does this Daniel think he is?
We'll show him who's really in charge here.
This group of wicked men started to spy on Daniel, trying to catch him doing something wrong so they could get him kicked out of the palace. For weeks, they watched his every move, but Daniel never made a mistake. He worked hard every day. He was kind and respectful to the people around him. They couldn't find a single thing wrong with him. And this made them hate Daniel even more.
That blasted Daniel is perfect. We'll never get him. Maybe there's another way.
Just then, an evil scheme popped in their heads. While they were spying on Daniel, they noticed that 3 times a day, he would stop whatever he was doing to spend a few minutes praying and worshiping God. They came up with a plan to trick the king into getting rid of Daniel.
Daniel prays to his God every day. Maybe we could use that against him.
Yes, finally we'll be rid of him once and for all.
The wicked nobles approached the king with an idea for a new law, one that would make the king feel very powerful.
Oh, great and mighty king. Sign a decree that the people can only pray to you for the next 30 days, and anyone who prays to any god other than you shall be thrown into a den of lions.
The king really liked this idea, but he didn't realize the effect it would have on Daniel. He signed the decree, and it became the law of the land.
"Hear ye, people of Babylon! The king has set forth a new order."
The wicked nobles waited to see if Daniel would follow the king's new law. And just as they expected, Daniel chose to obey God instead. He continued to spend time with God every day, praying and worshiping him. The nobles immediately ran to the king and told him what they had seen.
Oh, great king, we bring terrible news. Daniel has betrayed you and broken your law. By your own decree, he must be punished.
All of a sudden, the king realized that he had been tricked by the nobles, but there was nothing he could do. With great sadness, he ordered that Daniel be taken away and punished according to the law. The king's guards captured Daniel and dragged him out of the city to a pit filled with ferocious lions. The nobles watched with a wicked smile as the guards grabbed Daniel and threw him down into the pit. The opening to the cave was shut, and Daniel disappeared into the darkness. Daniel was surrounded by hungry lions in a pitch-black cave, but he still knew that God was with him. And you'll never guess what happened. Nothing. The lions didn't attack. God sent an angel to shut the mouths of the lions, and they didn't touch Daniel, not even a scratch. The next morning, the king ran to the lion's den, and he couldn't believe his eyes. Daniel came out of the pit completely unharmed, and the king was overjoyed.
Daniel, you're alive! Your God has saved you!
But his joy quickly changed to anger as he turned to the men who had plotted against Daniel.
You wicked tricksters will pay for what you've done.
The king ordered the guards to grab those men and throw them into the lion's den. Every one of them was devoured before they even hit the ground. Daniel knew that no matter what, God was always with him. He trusted God, and because of that, God saved Daniel from the lion's den. The end.
Let the king of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the king of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. For you are good, good. And you are good, good.
Let the king of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song.
Let the king of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. For you are good, good. Oh, for you are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, for you are good, good. You're never gonna let me down. 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 'Cause you're never gonna let me down. good. Oh, you are good, good.
I need you close, close, close to me. When I'm sad, you're here with me. Help me do what's right. Give me strength. When I'm proud, Jesus, help me see. We're blessed and always will be sons and daughters of the King. We're royalty. We're blessed and always will be sons and daughters of the King. We're royalty. You are forever a king. I wanna show your love